My name is Josh Robison, and this is my informative speech over the Federal Reserve. When it comes to our money, interest rates, and the value of the dollar, there's one organization that has a big impact on all of it, which is the Federal Reserve, or the Fed. This is the group that makes decisions about how money flows through our economy. It affects many things like loan rates and inflation. Today, I'm going to break down what the Fed is, how it works, and some of the issues that people have with it. By the end of this speech, you're going to understand better why it matters to all of us, even though we can't really change how it operates. The Federal Reserve was created on December 23rd, 1913 by Woodrow Wilson. He was the president at the time. The United States was dealing with a lot of banking issues and the economy was not stable. To fix this, they passed a law that created the Fed that claimed to keep the economy steady and protect the banking system. Woodrow Wilson wanted an organization that could control how much money was in circulation. He wanted to keep an eye on the banks and try to help control inflation. They created 12 regional banks across the country, which were all open by November 1914. Places like Boston, San Francisco, St. Louis, that type of thing. The Fed is kind of strange because it's a mix of government and private elements. There's a board of governors in Washington, D.C., and 12 regional banks across the country. This setup is supposed to give each party of the country a say while still having one central system. Even though the Fed is important, it's controversial. One big issue some people have is that it acts like both a government agency and a private organization. It helps for fast decision making, but it also makes people question its loyalty. The Fed has a board of governors that's chosen by the president, but the Fed itself is not fully government ran. This lets them make decisions without a lot of outer noise or interference. But again, it makes a lot of people question their responsibility to the public. Another issue is how they create money. So since 1971, the dollar stopped being backed by gold. Now the Fed can just print money. So whenever they feel like the economy needs some sort of a boost, they will just literally print more money, which raises inflation more so. They also control interest rates, which affects borrowing money for cars or houses. These decisions potentially keep the economy steady when handled well, but when it's not, they lead to big problems economically. Sometimes the Fed's decisions have side effects that don't always benefit us all. One other big concern is that these low interest policies create what we talk about bubbles, economic bubbles. Housing markets, things like that get overvalued and then ultimately crash. When the Fed keeps interest rates low, the borrowing becomes risky and prices in areas become inflated, housing, stock market, things like that. Some argue that the Fed's policies help wealthier investors more than the average worker. The wealth gap caused frustration with lots of middle-class people. They kind of feel like it's stacked against them. The cost of living continues to go up and economic issues happen more often, and it's getting tougher for that middle class to save and build wealth. A lot of people say that the Fed's policies sometime end up helping bigger companies and wealthier individuals more so than regular Americans like ourselves. In closing, the Federal Reserve is a powerful organization that has a huge impact on us and our economy. It's over 100 years old. It's a big part of why everything works the way it does. Even if we can't change it, it's still important for us to understand it. Thanks.